Nicole from Instagram. Happy to have you here. I would obviously like to talk to you about Instagram ads. And when we look back at the time when you launched Instagram ads for the first time, you obviously started with a few big brands.
Yep.
Which is like the normal way to do it. But I expected back then that there would be a big backlash from the community, and I didn't see that. So my first question would be, why didn't the community react in a way that we see in a few other places right now? For example, SoundCloud in Germany here. So what's your take on that?
Absolutely. So we put community first in everything that we do. And so we were really thoughtful about how we launch advertising to the community to make sure that it feels natural and feels native to them, as well as delivering value to our advertisers. So we did a lot of work with our advertisers early on. First, we did work with some big brands, but they're brands who are using Instagram already and who understand the community. And we helped share as much as we know about the community and what types of things they would want to engage with, the same way that the brands would share what they know about their own brand and about their campaign objectives and their goals. We also did a lot of work with the community leading up to ads to just make sure that they knew what was coming, knew what to expect, knew why they were seeing ads. And so we have a really good relationship with our community and always want to take feedback from them. So I think it was really important to us that we do have a good experience, and we were really happy to see the response so far.
And what were the things that you talked about with the brands? So what did you recommend them? Can you possibly share an example of a campaign that worked very well on Instagram?
We had a number of partners for the launch. Partners like Zalando, Porsche, Mercedes, Samsung, and they all had really different and unique campaigns. I think the things that we typically recommend when we're talking to an advertiser or just a brand who's running on Instagram, there are really three main principles that we always talk about. One is making sure that you're on brand. So Instagram is a place where it's incredibly powerful to be able to connect with people almost on a human level. And so it's really important to think about what your brand is, what you stand for, and how you bring that to life visually. Okay. So trying to help make sure that they think about how to bring their life or their brand to life on Instagram and to be on brand. The second piece is having a clear concept, having an objective, and trying to make sure that they're being consistent when they develop the creative for that. So all of the images should kind of ladder back up to what that overall objective is. And then the third one is just being well crafted. The community is really curated about the things that they post and the people that they follow, and there's even higher expectations if you're a brand. So I think it's important to really be thoughtful about how you're developing the images and what you put inside the images that you're showing that just show that you've taken that time and that consideration and that care for the user experience.
Okay, and now you took the next step and launched Instagram ads for basically all of Germany and a lot of other countries. A lot of smaller companies most likely started using it, and that's a tough spot to be in because obviously you have less control over the campaigns. How do you see smaller companies use Instagram ads? Can you possibly share some examples or simply stories about companies starting using?
Absolutely. Small businesses have been on Instagram since day one, and a lot of times they have some of the best content and some of the best accounts. Like, they're my favorite ones to follow. So I'm actually really excited to see what kind of content and what kind of advertisers come on now that we have opened up access. A couple of recent examples. One, a brand called Almdudler, which is an Austrian lemonade brand. And they are, I think, mostly known by people in Germany as being a wintertime drink because they drink it when they go skiing in Austria. And so they built a campaign around tying the brand to these summertime moments so that people would think about drinking it all year round. Okay. And they built beautiful ads that really bring out that summertime feel. So I think we're seeing a ton of small brands, and I think we'll start to see even more as we start opening it up broadly to advertisers of all sizes and to advertisers in new markets.
Okay. You have a lot of different formats, and there's obviously a lot of possibilities to target your customers on Instagram. So can you share some tips for people starting out? What should they start with? Is it photos, is it videos, is it something else?
Yeah.
Which target group? How to define that best?
It's a good question. I think you want to start with your own objectives, and you want to start, so when you think about targeting, what audience do you really care about and who do you want to be reaching? And from a format perspective, really think about what content is easiest for you to create, right? If it's natural for you to create videos, if you're a company like an entertainment brand that has videos, it's kind of the core of their business and what they do, it makes sense to start with videos. It may be images, it may be carousel ads, whatever format makes the most sense. And I think the key message is just to start testing and start learning. We are just starting to roll out access, and so there's so much to learn in this process, and really the sooner you can get started, the better. And I think the two things to focus on are who that exact audience is, so trying to make sure you're really refining who it is that you're targeting with your ads, and start to experiment with the types of creative that you run. That's such an important part of Instagram, so I think that's a really important part for brands to figure out what's working and what's not.
And can you compare the performance of Instagram ads to Facebook ads in some way or another? We heard obviously that they are a bit more expensive because, well, if we look at the Instagram feed, they take much more space. And as far as I heard, the interaction with those ads are a bit higher than they would normally be in the newsfeed of Facebook. But can you compare those two networks and their ad possibilities?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say that Facebook and Instagram are both incredibly powerful mobile platforms, and they deliver very distinct and unique consumer experiences. So you want to think about using them both, and you want to think about using them differently. At the same time, we're building Instagram into all of those tools and interfaces. So as an advertiser, you have the ability to leverage this unified back end where you can just seamlessly run across both platforms. In terms of comparison, I think what we're really starting to learn what's working on Instagram, and we're starting to do a lot of testing. And so it's most important to think about how you're planning your campaign on Instagram and starting to test and learn what really works there.
Okay. So last question, what are the next steps for you for Instagram ads? What brings the future? Can you tell us something about that?
So much. We're actually working on a ton of new updates. So you mentioned one, we're expanding to advertisers of all sizes, and we're expanding to all markets. So just last week we launched in 30 new countries, and by the end of the month we'll be available globally. Okay. We're also working on a bunch of new formats and features and things that will help make Instagram ads more compelling and easier to run. So things like we'll be rolling out landscape photos and videos and 30-second videos for advertisers. And we have a new marquee ad product, which is more of a kind of a high-impact single-day campaign kind of buy. So a bunch of different formats and features. And then we're also working on direct response. So we've been entirely focused on brand advertising to date, and we have some really strong results so far. Of the campaigns we've measured, 97% of them have generated significant ad recall, and on average 17-point lift, which is almost 3 times the Nielsen norm for online advertising. So really strong performance from a brand perspective, and now we're starting to explore direct response advertising as well. So actually being able to give people the ability to take action on posts. So they can do things like shopping and downloading apps, playing games, any kind of action they might be able to take. And we're starting to see some really good results there too.
Okay, so these features are already available. So
they're rolling out this month.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So thanks for the insights.
Yeah.
Have a nice time here at the Dmexco, and see you next time.
Perfect, thank you.